What's up, guys, and welcome back to Time Vision Talks. My name is Mustafa, and today I'm joined with
Yunus.
Mamoon.
And today we're talking about procrastination. Is procrastination always a bad thing, or does it have its benefits? So I'm just gonna start out with the definition. Most dictionaries define procrastination as to put something off, especially out of habitual carelessness or laziness. So it's like a habitual thing. You do it out of laziness, or you do it because you're scared to do it, or that's what most dictionaries define it as. But some people also put a difference between active procrastinators and passive procrastinators. So the definition we were just talking about was the passive procrastinator. The active procrastinator, on the other hand, puts tasks off on purpose because they work better under pressure, and some of them say they make better decisions because they've had more time weighing the options, better levels of creativity, and more insight. So what do you guys have to say about that?
See, that's what I always told myself, because I've been procrastinating for as long as I can remember, right?
Me too.
Since grade school, elementary, everything. It was really bad. And now that I'm finishing up university, I'm getting better at it. It's something that takes years to eliminate, right?
Yeah, you get control over it, basically.
I literally control my life with everything, with punctuality, homework, assignments, study. So it was something that I don't even know how it started, but I'm trying to this day to get rid of it. I've gotten better. So basically, in the beginning, I was telling myself that, I need that extra pressure to work, and I did. It was true. I did find myself more resourceful, more creative with that pressure, with essays, with certain projects. I found myself when I have that, I had this assignment for a month, but it's due tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I got it. I have no choice but to finish it today.
Right.
Under that pressure, I found myself more able to come up with nice ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been times where it's been bad.
Yeah.
There's been times where I had to rush and crumb, and it was just horrible. So I don't know if that's the same experience you guys have or no.
I think starting off with your first, the question is it always bad?
Right.
I think it's not always bad, especially if you're able to control it to an extent. Now, for example, myself, procrastination for me actually comes naturally. It's not something I don't like doing it, but it's just something. And the funny thing is, when you're doing it, you're doing it.
Right,
it's not like it's just happening and you don't know it. You know it's happening. It's just you're too comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't want to break. You're okay, I'm comfortable with the way I am. So I don't think it's always a good thing. I think over time, like he said, you need to gain some control over it.
Right.
It's something that comes naturally for a lot of people like me, and I think once you start to get a bit of hold on it, then I think it's sometimes it can pay off, right?
Right.
I was actually talking about my wife, and she is a go-getter. She's not a procrastinator at all. She does not think. Now, she does achieve a lot, on a day-to-day basis. Her goals and everything, she achieves them. But a lot of the times, I think she rushes into things,
Right.
and that's where I kind of take benefit, and I say, procrastination is good.
Yeah.
Not entirely, but to an
Yeah.
extent. I mean, sometimes you do need time to think. You need to sit down and think over things and make scenarios, do pros and cons in your head,
Right.
which is part of procrastination, right? But I think, again, it's a balance. I think I believe in balance with everything in life, and I think even with procrastination, you need to be able to have some balance. Take some time, think about it, sleep on it, kind of a thing, and then make a decision. Then go for it, right? So I think it's.
And that's very important too when you're making decisions that involve a big amount of money.
Absolutely.
Or a big life change, like buying a house or a marriage, or even buying a car, where say you're buying your first car, right, and you see the first one that's within your price range, you're like, all right, that's the one, I'm gonna go for it. But you don't know that there's a bunch of faults that's with the car. That's why it's so cheap, right? Whereas if you were a procrastinator, you would see that first car and you'd be like, all right, let me sit on it for a little bit, and then you would see other cars. Eventually you would be able to compare and contrast all your different options, rather than if you were just to rush into your first decision, right?
The only thing with procrastination, though, is I think it's very dangerous at some time. I mean, it's very easy to get carried away with it.
Right, it's a slippery slope.
Exactly. And I'm using my example again and again because I know how it feels. I mean, Sometimes you're just sitting down, like I said, you're procrastinating, and
Right.
sometimes even if you want to stop it, you can't.
It's very difficult because one of the things that make people a passive procrastinator is fear.
Yeah.
Like they fear making the first step, or they fear that they're not properly they're not able to handle the situation.
Yeah.
So they just put it off, and eventually they think that I'll be ready the next day or the next day. And so on.
Breaking that procrastination time when you're sitting down and you're constantly thinking over things, I think breaking that point is basically about coming out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And I think also one of the things that a lot of procrastinators, I'm pretty sure, will agree, is that working out of your comfort zone is something that you need to work on
Right.
to be able to control the procrastination itself. Sometimes you're sitting down and you get too comfortable. You're too comfortable. Things are fine. Getting my paycheck, I'm fine. I don't need to do it. But sometimes you need to come out of that comfort zone, get into that uncomfortable zone, and then you can still think, but have the ability to come out of it at will, and not let it work or make it something that you don't have control over. You don't want to do that.
And like that's one of the things that you were saying is that you want to be able to grow, right? So like a lot of people, like I was making a difference earlier between active procrastinators. A lot of people kind of put themselves in that pressure situation because that's when you grow, or that's when you mature. Is under pressure, right? You have all those quotes where it's like diamond is made under pressure. You know what I mean? So there's this saying that's been around, and it's kind of been attributed to a lot of different people, like Bill Gates or Frank Gilbert. But the basic gist of the saying is, I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job, because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it.
I've heard of it.
Right? So a lot of people associate procrastination with laziness, and this saying is basically on the defense of active procrastinators, where if you have a difficult job, or you have something that's taken an unnecessary amount of time, you put someone who is lazy and they will find the absolute minimum steps required to do that job, thereby shortening your time, increasing your output.
But you have to be really careful though. I mean, giving work to a lazy person, you have to make sure that the person's not too lazy.
Right.
Because too lazy would mean he's not going to do your work at all.
Right.
So again, coming back to the point, you gotta find that balance. I mean, yes, absolutely makes sense. A lazy person will take their time, think more, and they will always find a faster way to do it. Now, theoretically, it's beautiful.
Right.
I mean, makes perfect sense. But in reality, we all know that when a person's way too lazy, that person's not even going to bother doing it,
Right.
let alone finding a shortcut to do it, right? So, just a quick question. So, tell me something. Procrastination. What is the biggest benefit you've seen in your life? Procrastinating. Let's say, because you were saying you procrastinate, right? Any benefit that you've seen ever, a situation where it actually benefited you?
I don't know about the biggest benefit, but it's like you said, giving myself more time allows me, because me, for example, when it comes to getting ideas, creative ideas, it comes to me like randomly, right? So if you give me a target, if I have like a deadline, and I'm gonna put the deadline aside, and I'll be just living my life, going about my day, and I'll have like ideas just come at me randomly.
Right.
So procrastination helps in the sense where, like, if I have more time and give myself more time, I'll get more ideas while either walking to school or doing something randomly.
Mhm.
I'll get ideas, and like I can't get those creative ideas if I have like, I gotta do it now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Ideas
Or
to
mind
me,
is too stressed out thinking about
exactly.
things, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Ideas
right.
to me just come randomly, So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest benefits I've seen on any aspect.
Yeah, definitely on the creative side, writing papers or even getting things done, like assembling furniture or whatever, right? It's just that you procrastinate a little bit, like from my opinion, you procrastinate a little bit just to get yourself in the mindset, right? So you mentally prepare yourself, like, this is the task that needs to be done. This is how I visualize I'm gonna get it done. And these are the tasks that need to be done in order for me to finish the task. And then afterwards, like, you take a few days mentally preparing for that.
I know the feeling very well.
While thinking about it, and then personally for me, like, I like a little bit of pressure when I'm working. Like, I don't like to have too much of a time because then I'll find myself spacing out or just feeling.
We
like,
work better under pressure.
Yeah.
You know, having a bit of pressure actually
Because
work better.
you're just one track minded. Whatever your task is, you're on that. Because you know you're on a time crunch.
Mhm.
So everything else just gets filtered out, and you type in the paper or whatever that you're doing. It just helps me focus better in that aspect.
Absolutely.
Have you found any positive aspects?
Very, not a lot. Not a lot. I think a lot of the times procrastination has made me lazier,
Yeah.
and I'm being very honest right now.
Yeah.
I think it's made me lazier because I found it difficult. I mean, procrastination in that moment, I love it. It's
Yeah.
so comfortable.
Yeah.
You're just chilling, you're relaxing,
Yeah.
not thinking about anything. But I think it's when you come out of it and you realize that, let's say you missed a deadline, or you know you weren't able to fulfill a task or a goal.
Right.
That's when you realize that okay, it's
bad.
it's a scary
Really
goal.
bad,
It's
yeah.
not as easy as people think
Yeah.
that you can do it and then come out of it.
Exactly.
So I would say I've actually had less benefits than actually things
Yeah.
that I haven't achieved. But I mean the benefits, really hard to say. I mean, maybe just maybe, and I personally feel when I procrastinated and I got something good out of it, I got lucky.
Yeah.
It's my personal feeling. Some people might argue with that, but I think I've just gotten lucky. You know, I was
Right.
giving the example of my wife. Sometimes, she rushed into a decision. I told her not to take her time,
Mhm.
and then I told her a decision that she didn't take, and she did it, and then she realized that she rushed into it, and it kind of made me look good at that point.
Yeah.
That a guy who procrastinates is better.
Yeah.
But I would consider that lucky. I mean, procrastination. Again, coming back to your initial question, I don't think procrastination is always good. I mean, you need to have control over it, and believe me, it's not easy to control it. It's
Right.
not as easy as just saying I'm going to procrastinate and tomorrow morning I'm going to fulfill my goals. You can't do that. You can't be two persons at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta. So I don't even know if procrastination is the definition of that. It's just sometimes I guess more than procrastination, you want to be relaxed. You want to take your time.
Yeah.
So
right?
I guess one of the biggest impacts on someone who's an active procrastinator would be time management, right? So that's someone who can manage their time and say like, this is a task I need realistically X amount of hours for,
Mhm.
and I can set this X amount of hours on this date. Like I know I'm gonna have this time. So that's a person who's really good at managing their time.
Yeah.
That they're not passively procrastinating, saying, "Oh, I'll just pick it up whenever."
You gotta classify it, right? You gotta classify if
Agreed.
what you're doing is procrastination or is it smart time management.
Right.
Like for example, some things, yeah, like putting off an assignment till like a day before, that's procrastination. But like spending more time to, like you said, buy a car, that's like you need more time. You can't just buy a
Yeah.
car like
Yeah.
simply. It's not.
So
it's
yeah,
not a
you
smart
wouldn't
decision.
call that procrastination.
Yeah.
That's actually just being smart.
Yeah.
You just
yeah.
gotta sleep on it, think about it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's really hard to. It's a thin line then, right? It's not as easy
Yeah.
as saying that thinking and taking your time is procrastination. Like I said, you can't be two people at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't be a go-getter and procrastinate at the same time, and reap benefits from both the personalities, right? You have
Yeah.
to somewhere find the middle line, and maybe that's just not procrastination. So
Yeah, well, according to the definition, the procrastination is something that's characterized by habitual carelessness or laziness, right? And so, what do you guys think out there? Are you guys procrastinators or are you guys go-getters? Can you manage your time well to be in that in-between sweet spot? Let us know in the comments below. My name is Mustafa. I've been with,
Eunice.
Mamoon.
and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Time Vision Talks.
Peace.